Okay, so questions. One from Celeste. Did you find that your style has changed at all? Any new inspo?
I think it
evolved.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I think it's the same base, but it evolved. Like, it's the same base from what we've been doing, like, in the past, like, 3 years, or when we go, like, Blossom this Fruits of Thought. It's kind of, like, in the same kind of vein, but just, like, evolved. And I do feel there's, like, more, there's more, like, active and back and forthness between us about, like, okay, no, I want to Twitch that, or maybe not that, or that, and that, and just, like, I guess there's more instruments on that part.
That's what it is. I remember when I showed my dad what we were doing for Paso Beat, and he's a very opinionated Gemini man who thinks his opinion is law. So when I showed him the music, he's like, "Oh, see, like this is so much better. You guys should just be doing this." I'm like, "Dad, we don't have access to a band. The reason it sounds different is because we have a band providing."
You want to play for a drummer and a.
You know,
seriously.
Si t'as l'argent, dis-le-moi parce que par la suite, ça a changé. But until then, the style is not necessarily that much different. It's just the access to instrumentation, because instrumentalists are at home and recording these loops and putting them out for free for us to use. So with that, it's not like my sampling style has changed. It's not like the percussion style has necessarily changed that much either, you know? Which kind of gives it a more like, you know, acoustic, more, not old school, but more like a less techie vibe. And he's not really into the techie vibe, and because he's not into the techie vibe, he doesn't think anybody else is. And I'm like, that, you don't understand. Okay? Like, you just didn't get it. But I don't think our style has necessarily evolved since recently, but if we're talking about style since the beginning,
then for sure.
I think it's just become more cohesive. I think in the beginning we had bits and pieces of very different styles, and through the 6 years of being a band, they kind of just melded together a bit more.
Yeah, it's also reflective of our growth as people, because, you know, we want to talk about different things. We still want to be able to share our own personal truths and, you know, experiences, but also still carry, you know, activism through our music. So I think just like the nature of what we talk about has evolved with us, and, you know, for music style. And for personal style, I really hope that in the 6 years that we've been a band, my style has evolved.
I mean, our vocals change, our voices.
Oh God, our voices.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Let me tell you something.
We started when I was 18.
Let me tell you something.
18.
When we started, we had to rush an album in like 2.5 months. So there wasn't that much time to kind of refine the vocals. As much as you know, people are like, oh, like maybe this is a bit too flat, or maybe this is a bit too sharp. At the end of the day, we kind of went with the idea that, okay, this is a first like opus for us, and we're young, and this is our first album, so people will be a bit more forgiving, which they were. People really liked the first album, to be honest. But like in terms of our vocal, oh my God, the other day I accidentally played live footage from the first time we sang The Three Fates.
Oh.
C'est rough.
C'est rough.
Wow.
C'est pas facile. C'est pas facile, maintenant.
Hey, la vie est dure, man, but
la vie est dure.
People were into it. So.
But there's more questions. This cute.
Yeah, you have a lot of questions all of a sudden.
All of a sudden.
People were inspired.
Very shocking.
Good.
I love it.
Okay,
I'm here for it.
Anyways, do you think this quarantine is going to make people appreciate artists more?
Yeah, definitely. I hope so.
I think I think so, but I think also it's like tricky because also in Montreal, I don't know, man. People, you be like, yo, come to my show. It's like $10, and it's like the end of the world for them.
Yo, okay, this is something I was talking to people about at this day rave today, where like going to like a show at like Cass or whatever, if it's more than $10, people are like, that's fucking impossible. I can't do it.
I can't do it.
And then when you go to a rave, it's like $20 at the door because it's 11 p.m. and you miss the fucking like early bird tickets, and you're like, oh, okay, fine, whatever.
Exactly.
And like a DJ can be like, I'm not coming if you don't pay me $5,000 and fly me out and book my hotel and buy me food. And it's like, I know how much it costs to get a visa to the US. I know how much it costs to get a tour van. I know how much it costs to tour. Like, it's wild. And anyways, so, yes.
It is wild, and that's like really a thing that's like really present in Montreal. Just like artists, it's like hard
because everyone's
to
like,
get like it's hard to get like people to come out and stuff.
I think people are going to appreciate artist events more. Do I think they're going to appreciate the work that artists have to put in to provide the entertainment? I'm not sure, because with confinement and people being bored as hell as they are, like there's a lot of conflicting opinions on artists putting out the work. Like some people were really appreciative of people to still taking the time to work on new music or new visual art or things like that. And then some people like, oh, like we're living through a pandemic. This is not the time to be like putting out your art. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, when is the time? When is the time? Because 2, 3, 4 months down the line, people are gonna run out of shit to do and shit to listen to. Rihanna hasn't put out an album in God knows what, and every day on Al Gore's internet, she cannot go a day without somebody hounding her about it. So I can only imagine what that's gonna be like after quarantine. People are already bothering her about it before quarantine.
Facts. Yeah.
People are entitled to art.
That's fuck.
People feel so entitled to art.
Yeah.
And like some of the reasons why, like for example, Strange Fruits hasn't put out an album in however long is because we're busy. We're busy.
Yeah.
And I'm over here. I'm over here.
I think like people don't realize how long it takes to make an album. For sure, it takes a lot of work to like figure out the format of your album. If you want things to like just like kind of flow, if you want a general theme, even if you don't want a general theme, it just takes long to make an album, to just compose, like write, put it all together, record, and all that stuff. And yeah, I think that like people now that just like expect that since like you're home you can just like drop shit left and right, but it's like they still don't understand how much work it is to put out an album. I get people asking me when I'm coming out with my second solo album.
Your album just came out. What are you talking about? What do you mean? Drop another one. Let me just sit on the toilet and crap out an album.
Let me just pull out my album from my pockets. It's right there.
Yeah.
Like
I had a whole EP's worth just at the ready for you.
I think what people aren't understanding is that we also have standards for our own art. If we don't like it, we're not necessarily gonna put it out.
I'm sensitive about my shit.
Yeah. You know, and then people who think, no, just put it out, we're gonna love it anyway. No, they're still gonna be like, oh, this wasn't as good as the first album. Like, well, gee whiz, why do you think that is? Huh?
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I feel like people are going to appreciate art more if they didn't already, you know, with going to Netflix, going to even TikTok now, thus making it almost accessible to anyone to create a video, to create content. Oh my God, it's ridiculous just how much content is out there now. And I feel like people are going to get used to consuming art in different ways. And when we get back to a sense of normalcy that allows us to just go in our day-to-day, going out to places with groups of people and consume art in person, it's going to make for you know, a different vibe. I think people are still going to appreciate going in person to see art, but I don't know if they're also going to recognize how much work it takes to develop the art and to present it. So I hope that this changes things and that people recognize how long it takes and they respect people in their progress. But That remains to be seen. I honestly, I want to see if people are going to actually shell out the $20 just to see somebody perform.
Especially because now it's probably going to be even more expensive to make up for the losses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
From venues.
Parce qu'il faut que je refasse l'argent, là. So, yeah.
Not just even the artists, like the venues. Will
no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, the venue also has to, like, make up for all the time that they were closed. So, yeah.
And then it depends on what kind of art and what kind of artists they're going to let into these venues, because Montreal is notorious for being very selective.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
Next question.
What do you feel you have to do differently to better engage with fans / community when artists, creatives, everybody has to maintain engagement online now?
That's a loaded ass question.
Yeah.
You have to pace yourself. I think you have to pace yourself. You have to kind of gauge who your audience is, how they engage with people that they follow, and adapt to that. Like, for example, if you know that your audience is mostly on Instagram versus Facebook, maybe adapt your output to that. See what kind of things you can post on IGTV or on your stories, or how to get people engaged in consuming your art. For example, with the BandCamp Fridays, right? Like every first Friday of the month, BandCamp is allowing artists to keep the amount that BandCamp would usually make from revenue. So maybe people will not necessarily hear about that if you post on Facebook, but if you post like stories with like a little snippet of your music on an IG story, you might get more engagement that way. You might be able to tag other people in it and evolve that kind of engagement. Like just this past month, we grew by like 100 followers on Instagram since promoting this event, this digital sleepover. Whereas before that, it was pretty stagnant, just because we weren't really up to anything. So it's an interesting question though.
It's also like so much about cross promotion and getting your audiences to cross over to different people, and also getting them to jump platforms is like the hardest part. Like we get most of our website traffic from Facebook, but we get no likes on Facebook because people don't like anything on Facebook. We'll get like whatever normal amount of likes on Instagram, but like 2 website clicks, and then we'll get like literally like 250 website clicks on a Facebook post, and like I don't understand it, but like okay, as long as you know that, that's like kind of all you can do. But I think also it's important to say that.
Y'all, give me a second. My food's here.
Yo, go get your food. It feels like right now, and for the past few months at least, it feels like if you're not posting and if you're not like on top of your shit online very visibly, you're doing a bad job or you're a bad person. But I think what a lot of people kind of forget is that we're tired and sad, and sometimes
that's the mood. We're tired and
polished content that's like easily consumable and like super on top of shit. So it's kind of, I don't know, like what do you guys think of that?
I agree. Actually, good friend of ours, Janice, who used to be in a band called Sun Astronauts. I'm not sure if the band is still active, but she's been helping us with this digital sleepover and contributing for talents for the GoFundMe for anybody who has donated over $20 as of the 15th of June. You can reach out to her and she'll write you a short personalized song. We'll be sending out an email with more details about that. But me and her got to talking, and she was asking me, oh, have you guys like considered Patreon? And I know about Patreon because like all the YouTubers that I follow have a Patreon. Some of my visual artist friends have a Patreon, and I'm like, don't you gotta like do stuff for your Patreons to be on Patreon? And she's like, oh yeah, but like, just posting stuff while you're working on your new album. And I'm like, the assumption that we're working on a new album at all, like right this minute, is an interesting one, because like I said, I'm not in the city. we have no way of mixing and mastering stuff that we have recorded. We are not even talking about like the album right now. We're still kind of talking about staying afloat as a band all together. And this idea that, oh, it's just easy to be, you know, productive and have stuff to put out for a Patreon for people to like kind of consume for like the $2-3 that it costs me on Patreon. I'm like, I would feel bad for anybody that follows us on Patreon. I'm like, what are they gonna pay for? What are we gonna give you? The fact that we were even able to put out 3 music videos in a month is beyond insanity, just because I had already taken like the 3 weeks off for other reasons, and I had the time. I had the time to like really hone in on making something really cool for the Paso Beat videos, because you know we haven't put anything out in a while, and I want to show people, hey, you know, Strange Fruits, we're still out here, even though we're all confined. Like, we still have a lot of creativity that we want to share, and I'm willing to put in this amount of work right this minute and put it out and let it ride for the next 7 months and just figure it out afterwards. You know, but I don't think a Patreon right now, especially in this climate, is even sustainable at all.
Okay. Is everyone ready for questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking. Okay. How do you manage doing solo projects as well as being part of a band?
I'll let Nika start, because she's the one with an actual proper solo project that has already been released. So
Yeah, you also do stuff though. But how do I? I mean, I guess in that sense, because like, yeah, I guess it's like, yeah. For me specifically, it was just like my solo album. It was just like a different way for me to explore my creativity, and like different ways for me to songwrite and compose. And yeah, I think we've just like, we're really like honest about, or like I was really honest about the time that I had to put for Strange Fruits, and the time that I had for like my solo stuff. Yeah. But also at the moment that I was doing my solo stuff, we weren't creating that much either. And I think it's just, for me personally, it was just like figuring out what was the priority at that moment. I wanted to do a solo album for quite some time. So that was my priority at that moment, and it took forever to, I mean, didn't take that long, like 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years. But yeah, but other than that, I think we all have different solo projects in the way. Like, I also do Fruition, Mags also has like Lux Manga and blah blah, and I think we talk openly about the work that we do like outside, and also we try to collaborate as much as we can too, when it is available to do that and when it seems and looks right. But I think it's just about being honest about like, okay, well, this is my priority right now, or I'm like really focused on that, so I will look at band stuff later, or yeah, just trying to be as honest as possible. And sometimes obviously like we're all different people in this band, and sometimes you know, one thing will be like more pressing, and if I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, but I need to like finish this, then clashes can happen. But I think it's just trying to find common ground so things just don't drag on, but also like we all get to do what feels important to us at that moment. Yeah.
As for me, I haven't really thought of putting anything out in terms of anything like an album, or I've put out 2 collaborative albums in the last 2 years. The most recent being Age of Aquarius, The Juice, that came out during Lux Magna, and the year or 2 years before that, in 2018, I put out New Life on Mars with Shamar, or Shenji. and I've been really into collaborating in terms of music. I haven't put out a solo beat tape in a few years, but that was mostly because those beat tapes were really tied to a specific part of a spiritual journey that started in middle school and kind of came to an end around 2012, I want to say. So I haven't really been inspired to put out a collective kind of project. Like I've been making beats here and there, and obviously I've been making a lot of beats for the Froots. And in terms of solo endeavors, the most that I've been really implicated in is the loop sessions that happens every month. So for those who don't know what that is, loop sessions is a project that started with Dr. Matt and Lee from Nomadic Massive, and basically it's an event where beat makers can come and they have a few hours to sample from a vinyl and create a beat from whatever sample that they got, and then everyone at the end of the night shares their beat. And for the past few editions, they've been doing it over Instagram Live, and I've been really enjoying them because obviously I haven't been able to do the loop sessions since I'm here, but now that they're all online, I've been able to participate again, and it's been a lot of fun to be connected with all my friends in the beat making scene. And because it's on Instagram, lots of people from like Europe are also joining in, and you know, everyone's like connecting and making friends, and like people are discovering each other's music. And it's been really fulfilling for me, and it's also been really exciting to see the ideas that I've been able to come up with through this beat making process with loop sessions, and it's been a lot of fun. And I tend to not overthink my solo endeavors. My solo endeavors are for a completely different reason than other artistic endeavors, because the music that I make is mostly for me. The visual art that I make is kind of just to share with the community, not necessarily to like gain any kind of recognition out of it. So when I get approached with, oh, why don't you apply for this grant, or why don't you apply to like work at this place, I'm like, it'll just take the heart right out of it for me, you know? Like when it comes to like seriously investing in a craft that I want to see grow exponentially and become something of a platform, I focus all of that energy into Strange Fruits. And anybody that knows me knows that about me. So I do my best in knowing what's going on with Nika and with Sage, so that I can impart not assignments, but like just the workload that makes the most sense for each of them. And then if it can't be met, we have to like switch it around. I try to remain flexible enough in my schedule to make up for that. But that's just kind of always how it's been, because I am the oldest, I am done with school, I am pretty like flatline when it comes to like the things that are going on in my life. So I have the flexibility to like just kind of take on more. But it's a work in progress. So in terms of solo endeavors, I think this has been pretty beneficial for me to kind of reconnect with myself in that way, because everyone is at home and confined, and people are more connected than ever. So
yeah, absolutely. I think you both said it. I think it takes a lot of flexibility and a lot of prioritization. And my creative endeavors, my solo projects, if you will, have taken a back seat to the main solo project of full-time school. And I think I'm really grateful for quarantine in a weird way to give me that time to just hone in on, you know, just taking some time every day to focus on what speaks to me and what I'm passionate about, whether it's music or just writing, and really just developing right now and just taking it easy and focusing on how I want to be an artist in the future, because it does take, you know, allocating that time every day and recognizing what it actually means to you and how you want to launch your career, your projects. So
cool, thank you.
yes.
I would like to introduce you to Oscar, who is my 13-year-old cat. Joined me as moderator because I moved to my bed. So you see him. That's his name. Aww. He's just a nice old man. But the next question, what have you all learned most about yourself during the pandemic? Something new you learned?
Something new that I learned. I have zero tolerance for people
For nonsense.
For nonsense, really.
You've been knew that before pandemic.
No, but I think it exacerbated it during the pandemic because this goes outside of the artistic realm. I've spoken to a few people about this. Just the fact that people are so hard-headed and so entitled to having a good time and living life that they just can't stay their ass home for more than 2 weeks. Because I have not left the house since March. And it's not from a lack of friends that I can go see. It's not from a lack of protests that are happening, because I do have friends that are going to the protests. It is simply because I am not interested in getting sick. I am not interested in getting my mother sick. I am not interested in doing something to make matters worse. If I can stay home, I have the privilege of having a roof over my head, of having a job that I can work remotely, and I'm using all of those privileges to my advantage to just stay home, The reason why Montreal is in the situation that it is now is because nobody can stay the fuck home.
Yeah.
And that is what I've learned about myself during quarantine, that some people are so attached to the idea of bending the rules because we're human and we need this and we need that. And like, you need discipline sometimes. Sometimes you have to put that part of your mentality aside so that we can get out of a literal pandemic. This is not a feel-good, like, non-cohesive, like, no, this is like a very real, tangible thing that is killing people. If you think you are more entitled to going to the park or going to see someone at their house or going to an event that shouldn't even be happening in the first place, as opposed to just staying in when you don't need to be out, that is a you problem. You're not going to make it my problem. Because if I have to be confined because nobody can stay home, I'm going to make it somebody's problem.
The hashtag was built for you. Hashtag stay home.
Exactly. We wrote a whole song about it for Pastor B. Stay home and wash your hands.
Yeah.
Go on and wash your hands. Is that the lyrics, actually? I wrote it. I don't even remember. Go on and say something, wash your hands.
Good job, Anita. Good job. What have you guys learned about yourselves?
I appreciate slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do it enough. And also putting my phone in another room. Mm-hmm. Like when I'm going to bed, or even just, taking a time out, because especially in the past few months, it's been really easy to just get lost in my feeds and be really emotionally triggered by it. And sometimes I just needed to take a break. And sometimes that break lasts 15 minutes, sometimes it lasts 12 hours, sometimes even a whole day when my phone got broken and I had to send it in for repairs. And that's just what it needs to be. So slowing down, it's my new, my Zen time.
What I've learned, I think it's a mixture of Sage's thing too. I've realized that and I've talked to my roommate about this, that when the pandemic hit and we were supposed to stay confined, that it was the longest that she's seen me ever since I moved in, and that's just because I'm always at school or at work. So yeah, just I guess just be revisiting my space, and also just creating more too, just because I'm I've always been kind of creative, but I am very busy, and so it's nice for me to just be able to just pick up my guitar and between stuff that I do, or pick up my bass between stuff that I do, and just write and take it easy in that way. Yeah, so I guess slowing down, but I'm still doing a million different things. But from home, so it's nice. Yeah.
It's easier to be more reflective during this time, I find.
Mm-hmm.
You have a choice but to be reflective because
you can find so many distractions though.
no, because that is just if you can be that distracted at home, c'est parce que tu le cherches. There's a finite amount of things that you can do at home without getting bored after a while and taking at least 15 minutes, even on the toilet, to just think like, what has my life become? Who am I? What am I?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And like, my routine has not changed that much at all. Like, literally, the only thing that has changed is the lack of commute and not going to the gym. Like, I wake up, I go to the room designated to be my office, I eat breakfast, I check my socials, I log off at the end of the day, and then I do whatever I would do when I came home. Like, nothing has really changed that much for me, just because I am, similarly to Micah, very focused on the other things that I have to do all the time, and being home has helped me with that. So really the only thing that I've had time to reflect on is how lucky I am that this is where I was when the pandemic hit. Like, if I was in Montreal, if I didn't have the job that I had now that allowed me to work from home, if my mom wasn't here, if, you know, she didn't have a Costco card in a car, like, things would be very different for me. And to be honest, I don't know how I'd be handling the pandemic. I probably still wouldn't want to go out just because I'd be really scared. But here, like, I just have no reason to be out. And so that's the most reflective I've been all pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next question. When you felt a creative block, what has motivated you / inspired you?
Your last question.
That's a personal last question.
That's a next.
Okay.
Next. Creative block. I don't know. I try not to like dwell on it too much. It's weird because I don't know, like, I feel like I have more creative block when I'm just like, it's like a really like blank paper, there's no theme or whatever. But I feel like, you know, for like past the beat and whatever, we usually have like a theme attached to it, and it makes it easier to write in that way, because then there's like a general idea of where we're going. But it is hard sometimes to just like pick up my instruments and just like write sometimes. And then when that happens for me, I usually, well, I have like the luxury of learning, of knowing how to play instruments. So sometimes I'm just like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna like play around and not really think about like writing down lyrics or whatever, just like, you know. So then I just like play around, and then I come back to it. I think it's just like allowing yourself to just like write stuff, scratch things down or whatever, because I feel like sometimes with like artists, we just think that we just have to finish a song right now, and that's not necessarily like accurate or sustainable, because then it's just a lot of pressure, and it blocks a lot of creative flow. But if you just like write stuff, scratch them down, whatever, like, it just play around with words, and like, it usually helps. Yeah,
letting yourself make bad art is important.
That's
because like I feel that very much when like I haven't drawn in a while, and then I have to make a poster, and I'm like, I can't do anything right now, never mind make a nice visual for someone. But Mags or Sage, do you have anything?
I mean, when I feel the most blocked, I find it's usually because I'm either super concentrated on trying to produce something, or I'm not in the right headspace. So I either take care of what I need to take care of and prioritize things that'll relieve my stress, or I just have fun with it. And, you know, if that means creating bad art, or just, you know, getting jiggy with it in the bathroom, blasting tunes,
jiggy with it,
that's what it's going to be, until I just relieve myself of all of the nerves and the stress and that like you have to do this kind of pressure that comes with it that causes the block.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most times that I experience any kind of artistic block is when I have too many ideas and I don't know which one to lead with first. And it becomes something of like a task paralysis. This is something that I had to write about in school for, what class was it? It was like psychology and motivation. When you feel like you have too many things to do and you don't know where to start, and you feel like if you start at the wrong place, you're gonna fuck everything up, you just don't start anything. It's one of the reasons why I don't like dealing with paperwork, and it's one of the reasons why I'm not in Canada right now. But when it comes to my artistic endeavors, I don't know, I just kind of like watching my favorite creators, like the Try Guys. I saw them when they came here live, and I was so inspired. I loved their performance. It was like a mix of like live singing performances and stand-up and inspirational speech and like getting the crowd involved. And I was like, I want to do that so much. I want to just be able to do that. And it kind of just motivates me to find like different creative ways to like elevate our art. And in terms of like me personally, it's not so much that I have an artist block, it's just that I have too much shit to actually do to get it done. So it's not that I don't know what I want to create or how I'm going to create it, it's when.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That creative constipation. It gets to us at one point or another.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that's all the questions, and we have 7 minutes before.
Was that really all the questions?
Yeah.
What is all that stuff in the chat?
The questions.
People be like saying some cute stuff or saying, "Matt, speak louder."
Malaika, do you have any questions for us?
When's the next album dropping? I'm kidding.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Malaika, when was it?
I don't know. I can't even make music.
What was your first impression of us before you started working with us?
I just knew that Sophia loved you.
Sophia! Girl!
And
which Sophia?
Sophia, like,
Met on their birthday.
Pardon?
Years back.
We
yeah, you sang happy birthday outside of a bar.
Yeah.
But also I saw you open for Princess Nokia after, because like I've been friends with Sophia for like quite a while, so like she's always posting about you guys, and so I like knew of you, and then the internet, I think, and probably mutual friends brought us together, and it's just been nice. It's like very not stressful for me at all. Like as a person who like coordinates things and people, it's just like so like nice.
You know what it is? Malaika, because you and I have also worked on the launch for Age of Aquarius. And what I appreciate about you is that you are so on top of your shit. Despite
I don't think so, but like thank you.
No, let me tell you something. I promise you, with the amount of people that I have had to work with in the past, for somebody who is literally constantly dying, you were so on top of your shit. It's actually quite amazing. Like, there's some people who aren't even going through half of the shit that you're always telling me about, and you're still like, yeah, I lost a leg, but I could still post the update and do this and do that. And some people will just can't be asked to leave their bed and be like, oh, do I have to do this now? And I'm just like, I asked you to do this 2 weeks ago.
Oh my god.
Why is this hard? Nothing seems hard with you. Like, I can ask you something and I can still reassure you that, hey, like, I know that you're literally like on your deathbed, but like if you can get this done, and you'd be like, let me just do it now, period. And that is something that I greatly appreciate in working with you, and it's been such a pleasure. And it's just been, like you said, it's been really easy. It's been really chill.
Thank you. Wow.
Yeah.
You said I wasn't expecting all that.
No.
Zoe said facts. Zoe said that's true. Zoe said that's true. Yeah. Shall we play games?
What time is it?
9:56.
Well, let's take this 4-minute break to get our drinks because I don't have mine yet. Malaika, if you will, maybe put a song on or pull up a video of us or something.
Yeah.
We're about to play some games, y'all.
Yeah, so let's take this time, get bathroom break, decompress.
We'll be back in 5 minutes, y'all.
This is the time when you get to laugh at us.
Again.
We won't be playing Matchmaker this time, okay? Okay?
Never again.
Never again.
All right, we'll be right back.
See you in a bit.